if you know that you're working towards a cause and you're working towards something that is going to be the ultimate success and goal of the completion of the project, then it changes your perception of how you receive the information and how you use that information from that point on.
Hi everybody, Gavin Coyle here. I'm the Gaffer back again with an amazing guest, Cory Fisk. And Cory helps people that don't have a voice. So who are those people? Those people are mostly the workers on the ground who feel they don't have a voice. So Cory's mission is to connect the people that are on the ground with the people that make the decisions that are in leadership roles. And she has a fantastic model and a great business. And she has the experience and an amazing backstory to tell us about how she can connect the two. Cory, I'm delighted to have you on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, so like everybody's wondering, how is it that this person can, do this mantra of connecting the two together? Like, what was your background? I know that you have a strong interest in the construction industry. You've got a great story in terms of a personal story, but just give us a sense of why it is this is a passion of yours.
Well, I could very easily start out by explaining that I was the firstborn and my dad wanted a boy. So I had no option but to do whatever the little neighborhood boy down the street was doing. So I was always the best at basketball. I was always the best at everything that he was going to put me out there for. And when it came to learning or really understanding what I wanted to do for my career, my dad, he had been a blade operator his whole life and never went to college. So his number one goal was to make sure that his kids went to college. So from kindergarten up, I remember him saying that, you're going to UC Davis, which is a popular veterinarian college here in California. And I was in love with horses and rodeo. And so that was my dream. And when I graduated from high school, the first thing to do was to go into the construction working summers so that I could earn money to be able to go to college. I was a flag girl the first year, which 100% solidified I would never do that again. It has got to be, besides a very dangerous job, one of the most boring jobs. And I really would consider it one of the most difficult jobs in construction. And so I made sure that the following year I was a laborer. And so I worked the shovel and I stripped boards and was an assistant carpenter. And then worked on an earth dam for a while. And so I just really got a broad level of experience working as a laborer. And so I did that for all 4 summers. I went to school at Texas A&M University, of course, following my dream in the equine industry. And then when I graduated from Texas A&M, my goal was to go into agriculture. When I found out that my student loans were as much as my annual salary, I recognized that I was going to have to work off those student loans before I went into my dreams. Now, as a younger person, you do make certain decisions and choices at those crossroads that you don't recognize how they're going to impact the rest of your life. And leaving college and not staying in contact with my people I had met and my contacts and all of the areas where I could have just easily walked into an agriculture job, I lost all of that when I went back to work in construction. And so I went back for 2 years. And while I did that, I became an equipment operator and I was a laborer on a project. And my dad, again, who is my role model, he was looking for some work and he walked into the job trailer and the senior construction manager there was from Texas A&M. And my dad was proudly wearing his Texas A&M jacket of his recent graduate. And so the senior project manager asked where I was at. And he said I was working as a laborer out in the field. And for the next 4 days, my first mentor, Curtis Allen, drove around looking for me so that he could bring me in as an assistant construction manager. And that's how my construction management career started. And
Brilliant.
so, yeah, and I think the one point that I would like to make out is just the diversity of opportunities in all of the different areas really have been God blessed for me in what I'm doing today. They've provided me with an opportunity to really see, understand, and be a part of every aspect of the construction industry.
Yeah. Yeah, like your story totally resonates with me because like you're the classic, low bencher, low barrier to entry construction person that like, even if you are qualified and it doesn't work out for you, you can still change your career and go straight into construction.
You always have a backup, and if you don't have a backup, you're going to be able to build a really good tough shed. So it's like, there's nothing invaluable about having construction knowledge as part of your base knowledge set.
Yeah, and even if you go in as a laborer or, low level type career into construction, you're still getting exposed to all this commercial reality of finance, stress, risk management, collaboration, and it seems like the world is endless in terms of that. Can you talk to me through like what you've seen when you like at that entry point where you kind of went like, oh my God, there's so much opportunity here?
Yeah. So to be honest with you, I didn't see it at first. And that really was because of the role and responsibility of the supervisors, superintendents, and managers in my life. My job was to do whatever was needed done that day. So as a matter of fact, I don't ever remember anyone offering to even let me look at a set of drawings when I was out on a job site. If I was told to do something, that's what I did. And I feel that this is a really important point for people to understand, is that when you don't know what's ahead of you, it makes it hard to fit all of the puzzle pieces in. And what makes this so simple is it happens to us as parents and as children, is that when our parents tell us to do something, we're like, why do I have to do that? That's stupid. And really not recognizing that it is part of a puzzle piece that is going to get us to where we want to be. And work is exactly the same way. We have superintendents and upper management who are in a parental position, who are telling us what to do, but not giving us any motivation or incentive to be able to be a part of the finished outcome. And this impacts people and how they retain information and how they learn information. If you know that you're working towards a cause and you're working towards something that is going to be the ultimate success and goal of the completion of the project, then it changes your perception of how you receive the information and how you use that information from that point on.
Brilliant point. And it so resonates with me because I remember being told on more jobs that, oh, we're losing money on this job. Like, we need to get this done. Like, can you just, work an extra couple of hours because, to be honest with you, we're going to lose money on this job. And you're looking at it, and next thing, like, everybody's driving brand new cars. There's new equipment coming in, and they're like, and you're a labourer, and you're going, something's not connecting here.
Yeah,
I'm talking.
But yeah, this $400,000 or $400 million company is on the shoulders of me staying an extra 2 hours on a hard day. Yeah. It's not.
Yeah, actually, now the way you put that, I'm starting to think to myself, yeah, I was very naive in order to convince me to do those extra couple of hours. But it's so true. You don't have to tell everybody about everything, because there's so much information, so much moving. But isn't there a massive disconnect between the ownership and people on the ground in general, in broad sense?
Yeah, no, definitely. I call it the Great Divide. So there's definitely a canyon between site workers and office management. But I've found in construction, and again, I've worked in a multitude of other industries because I've had multiple occupations. I've been a full-time facility director while I was working construction and as a construction management at the same time that I've been a full-time college instructor. And so at each of these different levels in construction, there is some distance that needs to be considered. And the way that I like to be able to explain this to people is we are all, no matter where we're at, even if you're in that entry level, we're 2 steps ahead or 2 steps behind someone else. And if we're always from the perspective of a teacher and having patience and understanding that every time we talk to someone, we're explaining it in a way that's providing an opportunity for that person, then we're able to break things down in a way that helps us become masters at our own craft. And so when we're looking at doing something like that, then even the distance or break between a superintendent and a laborer can come closer together. It does push up against that boundary of friendship that sometimes is really hard when a superintendent has to let someone go because it is a business. And this is where we need to be able to recognize the difference between an experience and what's going on and emotion, and how our personal perceptions and the way we were raised and the culture we grew up in and everything that impacted us is developing an emotional response to this specific experience that's happening. And so when we're talking about upper leadership and upper management, besides the fact that site workers and upper management are both using 2 completely different sides of their brain, they are also not able to really communicate because they're working on different tasks. They're working on different things. And there's only moments of time when that collaboration crosses. And we just need to take a more intentional awareness and be able to put more of those collaboration opportunities in place so that we can work through that division.
But I love that you said that, because as you were talking there, I was thinking to myself, as a general operative, for example, you might be told, I need you to open the site gate in the morning to let deliveries in. I want you to check the deliveries. I need you to go over there and pick up rebar. I need you to go down and get lunch for all the workers or whatever it is. So many different aspects of their job. And if you look at other industries, it's like, even if it's a low barrier to entry, and don't get me wrong, but if it's like in the hospitality industry, it's like, collect glasses, take orders, clean tables. It's very clear, very concise, very methodical, very structured. Construction's not like that. But
even in that example, none of it can, the completion of the project cannot happen without all of that happening. So that person that needs to recognize how absolutely important they are to the entire process, but they're treated as though they're at the bottom level. Instead of recognizing that even at Walmart, you have a greeter with a smile. Those shoppers are going to spend more money. They're happy when they walk in. The same thing with the guy that opens the gate. No one's going to be able to get into the job site if he's not there. So you can be there and be pissed off, or you can be there and be happy and set everybody in a good mood when they go through those gates. Because when you go through those gates, it's extremely stressful and anxiety ridden. There's budgets, there's schedules, there's deadlines that all have to be met. So to have someone like that at the gate, even if it's someone who's retired, who's only, out there 3 days a week or whatever, providing quality control on the project and being a mentor and being an ambience on the particular job site, that is going to increase your productivity of those people. But understanding that not one thing can happen towards the completion of that project without those people.
Yeah, but it's like, I'm going to throw a curveball at you because I like to do these things on the podcast. These are also our most vulnerable people as well. because of that.
Absolutely right. These are people who usually have a low perception of themselves, and that is because of their life experiences. Either there's an addiction problem, there is the potential of a past that has been darkened and is been difficult to overcome, a divorce or some type of challenge or trauma in life. So absolutely, that is. But it is the importance of those around to be able to, again, lift that person up and help them understand the importance of their job that helps them build the confidence slowly to get out of that particular place they are in their life, where they can start seeing their worth and they can start recognizing that they are capable of more. But I want to just make one point here. Some people are perfectly happy staying in that particular position, and that's okay. Not everybody has to promote. Not everybody has to go to a management position or be a carpenter or what have you. You can be really good at what you're doing and be happy. So
yeah, I'm glad you said that, because I know we'll get into further discussion on this, but you don't have to go to college, even though there's a career path looking as if if I want to be a charge and foreman or the supervisor or superintendent, I have to go back to college, and I don't want to do that. You don't have to have that bias in the system, and I know we'll talk about that later on, but It's brilliant that you make that point, because it's a very valid point. I think people feel, I don't know, I'm only from my own opinion, but I think there might be a sort of imposter bias within entry-level positions, where they feel, that's for him or for her, it's not really for me. They're more, they've got, more money behind them, or they've got better structures, or they've got a more relationship with the higher up channel.
Yeah, I don't know if that's really what they're thinking all is true. I will just tell you that when I was a laborer, you start believing how people treat you. So when you're a laborer and they treat you like shit, then you start feeling like that's what you deserve. And a superintendent's going to treat you that way, because that's how we've been taught that leadership was. It's leadership from authority down, instead of recognizing the importance of support, motivation, and inspiration, of being able to support people and have people smarter and better around you. Most leaders, superintendents, or management people have always been to the point that they don't want anyone smarter than them, because it might take their job. And it's the same thing in construction. We hold everything close to our chest. We're getting ready to lose a lot of extremely valuable workers that have the quality and workmanship that we're not finding in our younger generation. And they're holding all of that information close to their chest, and we're going to lose it. And so we need the mentorship from those people so that we can continue with our, tradition of building good products and good buildings and good projects.
Yeah, it resonates with me, because when I left school early, I went into the meat factory industry, and it was killing cows, even though I'm vegetarian now. And
that's probably why.
Yeah, I remember getting a cut on me. I still have a scar on my hand today, and the killing line didn't stop. It was it just kept going, the abattoirs just. The supervisor was just saying to me, just get on with it. There was no first aid or whatever.
Yeah, so thank you. So we're eating your blood. But I was in ag. I was in agriculture, and so we had to take a butcher class. So I know exactly what you're talking about. And, but all jobs have their own stress and their own anxiety. These are skills that we use every day in life, that we just have to recognize that it's just a slight distinction change, and being able to transition those skill sets into the industry that we want. And construction management is the perfect place to be able to start with that, because if we can manage a project, we can manage our lives. We can manage anything that is thrown at us. And so I love the understanding of being able to take advantage of the skill sets that you've developed doing other things and playing the game of how does this skill set apply in my construction management position?
Yeah, but I think there's I don't know, I think there's some sort of a clash going on between friction and support and scale in terms of a person's career development. And, you know, you could speak to this, but in the construction industry, it's kind of like, you know, if I throw enough chaos at this person and I throw them into the deep end, and if they swim, well, then they're good to go. And if the ones that drown they're gonna fall. So, you know, I have to ask you the question, how do we get some sort of a balance between, you know, not having to throw people in at the deep end and have that philosophy? Like, what's your experience? How do you, like, I'd be interested to hear your point of view on that.
Yeah, well, I have a very strong point of view on that, and there's probably some people here who aren't going to like it. But well, I mean, the thing is that we can't keep doing it, right? We need people in the industry, so we can't keep throwing people and watching them fail and then having them go out. And so, I mean, it really is the order of precedence. Everybody should start at the bottom and have to work their way up the ladder. Your competency in the experience that you have and the education that you've been able to develop is going to pull you up that ladder faster than others. And that's where the separation begins. But if we don't have that practical knowledge base of construction as we're moving up into a construction management position, then we have no understanding of the guy that's in the trench who's been digging there for 8 hours in 100-degree weather. We simply just see that we need to get work done and it's not happening as fast as we want it. And so that level of appreciation and empathy doesn't come into it. And then we have all of these companies trying to meet this political standard and really going into this, we need more women in construction. We need to be balanced in the population of people that are working in the construction industry. And so we'll implement DEI, but we'll put an agenda on DEI that shapes it the way we think we want to be able to move things forward. So when you do that and the office and the company are thinking that way, but the workers are working and focusing on what needs to get done, those things aren't important. And one of the reasons why they're not important is because they're not resonating. When you say DEI or women in construction, I'm like, hell yeah, that's exactly what we need. Men can't do anything on their own. Like, they have to have women involved in order for anything to be able to happen. And this is why when we're focused on it, we just don't need any women. We need women that are probably going to be heavier in their masculine energy, women who can understand that they're walking into a male majority industry and that there's going to be challenges in that they're going to have to face. They're going to have to be very clear about expectations and boundaries and educate men how to treat women in a work situation, not as a wife, not as a girlfriend, not as a friend, not as a sister, as a work peer. And the same as DEI, diversity is very important. It brings in innovative ideas. It brings in creativity. Diversity can be between two white men. They can both be different. Their color has nothing to do with it. Equity is not equality. Equity is making sure that women are being paid the same as men doing similar work. I don't want to be equal to a man. I do not want to lift 150 pounds of railroad ties on my shoulder, which I have had to do in the past. I remember doubling up and, basically running from the strip board to the pile in order to be able to keep up and have that equal aspect in the work that I was providing the company versus what the male was providing. And then as far as inclusion, we all want to belong. We all want to feel like we're a part of this thing. And so a lot of times it's not on purpose, but we bring things from home that provide a division in our space of being able to have relationships on a job site that remind us of things that we experience in our personal life. And when we don't have that kind of inclusion, we're not looking, out for each other. We're not doing things that really would cause that tight-knit community. To be honest with you, on a job site, I think it's very different. There's a brotherhood there that I feel can be very powerful with women working with the men that are on the job sites. But we have different skill sets, and we were built differently on purpose in order for us to be able to lean against each other and utilize the skill sets of each other in order to be able to collaborate to have the very best possible outcome. So I think that the agenda that people put with some of the good things that they would like to include in the industry is actually inhibiting it from really being able to take off.
Very powerful, Cory. I have to say, if you could bottle that and sell it, you're on a Coca-Cola. You're on a Coca-Cola. That was amazing. Yeah.
Well, it's really hard to talk about these kind of things because it's not polished, right? And if you say the wrong thing one time, then you're done. This is why I work for myself. This is why I'm an entrepreneur, right? Because
they're waiting for you there.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Cory.
I know. Yeah, say it.
No, I can't say that.
Yeah, good thing you're across the way, because no, I think that everyone's feeling this pressure from all sides of the world, and it's just really important that we all take a deep breath and just recognize that we all want the same thing. We want a safe place for our families to be raised. We want to be able to belong in the community that we're in. We want to be able to be productive, and we want to be challenged. We don't just want, the easy life that everybody thinks that they want. I mean, we've seen how many times money doesn't make people happy.
Yeah, or we don't want this whole sort of pat on the shoulder, or you're doing a great job, because you're a woman, or because you're, a guy, or whatever that connotation is. And this is one of the reasons we wanted to get you on the podcast, was because we didn't want it to be woman focused, even though you're a strong woman, an independent woman, and fantastic career in your background. You're basically saying it's about the right person for the job.
Oh, absolutely. And it has to be right, because it is a dangerous industry. So we need the best of the best out there who are paying attention and know what they're doing. I want to be safe. And so if you're a woman or you're a man, to me, it really doesn't make a difference. But I'm not stupid either, where I know that I'm a woman walking out on a job site. Believe me, I mean, I'm a little long in the tooth now, but I used to get a cat call here and there. So, it's just one of those things that you have to deal with. And if you're not ready to stand there and look at someone and say, oh, I'm sorry, but it's really not appropriate for you to do that. And so I would suggest that in the future, you be careful, because you may not run across someone like me next time. And so, they just need to be educated. And, when you're dealing with those type of situations, you have to recognize that in construction, there is such a diverse and multitude of different thinking patterns and people that you're dealing with, that you have to be very quick in assessing that person and what you can say to them and what you can't. And it's not a world where we can feel free to speak, our mind. We have to be able to also be smart enough to analyze the situation and have situational awareness, and be able to, talk with the guys in the trench if we need to, like, come on, guys, buck up. What's going on? And then turn around and talk to a project manager and say, I'm really sorry I wasn't able to get that schedule out today. There's a delay that we're trying to work on. You have to be able to flex and transition very quickly.
Love it. I absolutely love it. So Or I'd say people listen to the podcast and are going to go, what does this woman actually do? So because we've got so much context of your vision and your mission and your values and who you are as a person, how do you solve a problem for the construction industry?
So I've, spent many years in my life wondering, why is God putting me through all of these different situations, all of this different experience? And I really believe that it's so I can do what I'm doing right now. And that is to be able to provide education and curriculum and growth for people in the construction industry. I think that we talked a little bit earlier about a college degree versus, no college degree. And 100%, it is possible to be successful in construction without a degree. However, the companies are still putting out job descriptions that require a degree for certain positions within the industry. And so when that is seen and is not being changed in order to be able to balance experience for that college degree, as an 18-year professor, I still have people coming in looking for a certification or a degree in order to be able to promote to a management position. And so I think it's very important for people to understand, because in the construction industry and in the entry level that we come into, sometimes we believe that we're not built for college. Sometimes we believe that the reason we're not built for college is because we are not technologically inclined. We are not essay writers. We may not be strong in math in some situations. And so we believe that we're not going to school because we hate learning, or, we don't want to learn anymore. It's just done. I'm just going to work. Every day that you throw a hammer on a nail, you're learning. You're learning exactly what you need to do to nail that every time so you don't hit your thumb. Okay, so if we start changing the understanding and the development of our mind, and be able to balance the educational flexibility of both sides of our brain, and be able to do very critical thinking, problem solving, as well as innovative, creative thinking, and exercise and practice those things in our daily life and in our projects, then we're able to keep a balanced learning situation in place, so that when we decide to promote to a management position, we're 100% ready. But if you are working for 10 or 20 years, your body gives out, and all of a sudden you want to be a superintendent or a project manager, now you have to learn how to be on a computer. Now you have to learn how to write daily reports and meeting minutes and coordinate and communicate with those project managers that you were pissed off at all the time because they were walking around on the job site without proper shoes. And then all of a sudden you're that guy. And so, this is why I love the order of precedence and people being required to work their way up the ladder in order to have an appreciation of what goes on a job site, to be able to make that great divide shorter and smaller, and promoting from within your company. And doing that early with a customized design curriculum that fits your company culture, but also is talking to the awareness and the humanness of people, so that everyone is able to comprehend where they're at. So being able to use short form video, being able to use textbook, being able to use workbook, PowerPoints, and then what I call generational storytelling. Being able to be that older mentor sitting around the campfire explaining what it was like in the good old days. And with the exception of, no shoes, walking uphill both ways 12 miles, it is an opportunity for that older workforce to be able to have fun, providing the younger workforce with their experience, their knowledge, their education that they're about ready to leave with in the retirement of this construction industry. So I build curriculum. I teach online. It's construction management online. And I love being able to support real scenario situations, mentorship opportunities that align with a lot of the techniques that I have. Most of it's around, having a lot of pre-thinking, pre-planning, but then going into construction and then understanding how to negotiate or how to keep a really tight control cap on things that are going on the job site. And it's all done through documentation and the understanding that the more organized, managed, and documented that you are on a job site, the more likely that someone is not going to try to, change order you to death or bring up any kind of disputes or other issues that might cause claims or risk on your project.
So if I'm little old Gavin and I've been, shoveling muck for the last 6 months or 2 years, and I decide I want to better myself, do I contact you and say, look, I'm better than this. Like I want to be a project manager, supervisor, foreman. Is that the route? Are you giving me the path outside of the academic university route?
I really am. But the thing that I want to be able to focus on with you is the understanding that no matter what job or industry we do in our life, the most important thing is taking care and managing our life and knowing and understanding that a lot of the opportunity for us out there in the world is based off of our ability to be able to take in and have and retain information. And if you can't retain the information that I'm teaching you, then there is no purpose in you spending the time doing it. So it's very important to be able to help people through things like limiting beliefs, which is exactly, I'm not good enough. I'm in this entry-level position because I'm not built for college. And so us being able to take a limiting belief and really understand the difference between an experience and an emotion we give that experience and help people recognize how to be able to put themselves in a position to be an open book that allows us to then write their story and intentionally design a path to that management position. And being able to do that from a mind that has been very focused on work, construction, getting things done, and then, making it more flexible and being able to take on the diversity necessary to challenge or to handle problems that are flying at you and coming at you.
Yeah, I love the way you said that because to be straight up with it, I purposely left out the fact that you're a professor at the intro stage, university.
You didn't want people to hold it against me.
Look, if people hear, here's a professor now. What am I going to learn from a professor? But if you hear the story straight through, and we get to this point, and then you say, right, I'm going to get a professor that's going to work with me to help me better myself, so that I can better my family, and that I can better the employer that I'm working with. What's wrong with that?
No, there's nothing wrong with that. And I appreciate your approach. Colleges are getting a bad name right now. It's not anything that I'm proud of. I almost got released from my college because of this COVID thing and some of my own personal beliefs. And so, struggling with how these colleges are managing the lives of people when all we're trying to do is make a living and enjoy our life while we're here. And so I think it's really important for people to recognize that as a college professor, I'm a career tech education college professor, which means that I do have a master's because I chose to continue improving myself so that I could learn how to teach better. But that most professors go through that system and become a doctorate and do that thing. And so they're in the system a lot longer than I am. And what I've recognized, we have something here called tenure. So they could fire me. They could find a reason to fire me, but it's really hard. So I'm now at a place where I can just teach because I love the students and I want the students to learn and I want to do what's best for the students versus some of the requirements that were placed on me earlier where I had to meet certain standards that the college was expecting. And so that is the reason why I chose to move to construction management online and have my own online college that provides this personal growth for people, because I'm able to do things here that I'm not able to do in the classroom. So it provides quite a bit more flexibility, but it also allows me to be much more personal with my students. It allows me to work with people who really want to be here, who really want to be here to learn from me and be able to improve on their own lives and their own career. And so it's a much more enjoyable experience, and it has been extremely rewarding for me, and I love it.
So with that, because we always like to throw curveballs, and what I do anyway, how do you connect the employer with the employee in this scenario that you've just discussed? So I'm thinking from an employer point of view, and Gavin comes in, knocks on the door and says, I'm working with this Cory one, and she's a professor and she knows her stuff, and she's going to get me to where I want to go, and I want you to recognize that. And in 12 months' time, 24 months' time, I'm going to come knocking on your door and I want to be the next best supervisor. And the owner of the company goes, yeah, whatever, off you go.
Well, they might say that anyway, right? You might end up trying to put time into a college certification or degree, and they might say that anyway. So you have to be doing it for you. You as an individual, you're only there to be accountable to yourself and to make sure that you're doing the best that you can in this world in order for you to be the best human that you possibly can be. It really doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. So if you want to be a better project manager, a better construction manager, then you find the program that fits you so that you can do that. Now, I would say that for larger construction firms, they're going to go into a traditional curriculum format. They're not going to have someone like me who's going to personalize it for them. And so that's why I like to stay with small to mid-sized companies where they are not able to afford that same educational platform that maybe a larger company is, but that I already have, pre-designed programs that they can just alter to fit their own company culture, and then be able to work with their employees that way. It's sometimes hard for an employee who's working and focused on work to be able to invest in a program like this. And if a company wants better profits, they want less risk associated with change orders or, the management of their projects. They want to be able to retain employees by providing opportunities for employees to continue growing and promoting. Then they would come into my program, and the company would be sponsoring employees to be able to get that done. But I work with both, and what I really like about it is that there's a cross-pollination of individuals who are able to learn from each other, because we all, can learn something from anyone, even if it's that we never want to learn that again. And so it really provides an opportunity of collaboration.
Yeah, do you know what, Cory? I've only known you a short while, but you don't talk down to people. You're very matter of fact, yes, and I'm sure you hold people accountable. And I can see that sort of. I better have my stuff done, and that's great. Gives discipline into it, but you're not. It's a very interesting angle that you're coming on, in terms of you are working upstream. I think you'd agree, in terms of, you're trying, and that's a massive challenge. I can't, I don't know, I was going to say thank you, but I commend you for going upstream, because number one, you've got to get that message out. Number two, you've got to get that structure right. Number three, you've got to get that balance between, as you say, triaging who really wants to make a difference about their life and who wants to make a difference but doesn't have the motivation or the energy or the capacity to make it right. And you've got to deal with all that kind of sort of figuring out. But at the same time, your bigger picture probably is, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but your bigger picture probably is, can we not come together and just come up with a solution together? Because, you know,
and
that's the utopia.
Yeah, and this is why I have to stay open to always learning how to do it. Just because I've been doing it for 18 years doesn't mean that I can't do it better. And so I always am trying to change and improve and to be able to work with it and do it better. But it is an uphill battle. But I believe that if it wasn't right, I would not have the passion I do to do it and to get it done. I mean, it is God-given energy that I'm able to continue wanting to help other people understand their worth and their value and their opportunity and abilities. And so I feel that in that sense, it's easy because I get to learn all the time. So it never gets boring. It is interesting to me. It is exciting to be able to see people get the light bulb and really see what they're capable of and being able to move forward on that. And as far as keeping people accountable, again, we're only accountable to ourselves. But if you're telling me that you're doing the homework, and I know that based on the conversations or the type of questions you're asking me that you're not doing the homework, then I'm not in the position of a college professor where I can just nod my head, turn my back, and give you a B in order to get you out of my class. You chose to invest in this program. You are going to do the work. And so that is, that's my promise, is to hold people accountable in a way that, we really are all equal. We all put one foot in our pants at a time. And there's no reason to talk down to anyone because I'm not perfect by any means. And so we all have to hold appreciation for each other and respect for what we've been through. I have no idea what your background has. You have a little bit idea because you ask some questions like, what's my last name? And I have to go through 4 or 5 of them in order for me to have a full picture of, my personal life versus my professional life. But, it's just one of those things. So no one's perfect.
No, and we're all figuring it out. But at the same time, you've got the experience, you've got the academic background, you didn't get everything handed to you, and you've got a pathway of something that is very unique in the industry of construction, which is basically saying to anybody, look, we know you didn't have time, energy, or money to go down the academic route. Now you've got a bit of experience under your belt. Let me mentor you to a position where you're in a better conversation with your employer to say, hey, I think, my name should be in the hat. And that's basically what you're saying. Like in a nutshell, we don't have to, pump it up or whatever else. It's to give people an option. And that's really what you're saying. And I love the way you're doing it because most companies start off with the point of who's the decision maker. And they say, well, the decision maker is the procurement guy, the managing director, the CEO, whatever else. You're saying the decision maker is the worker.
The one that opens the gate.
The one that opens the gate at 6 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning and says, hi, how are you doing? This is such and such a project. You can't park over there. You have to park there. You can't move until such and such a time. Supervisor will be with you at such and such a time, and has all the rules and has all the knowledge and has all the whereabouts. And in their own right, they're leaders.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I'm going to throw some curveballs at you because
Because you do.
Because I do. So, in terms of something that people would not resonate with you or doesn't know about you, something interesting about you that people in the podcast wouldn't know, haven't listened to the podcast, or probably don't even know, and they know you, what would that be?
Well, my dad was a trapper, so he worked for construction during the summer seasons, and then during the winter he would trap for bobcat, coyote, different furs. And I would skin all of those and put them up on stretchers for money. Yeah, I'm one of the fastest muskrat skinners in Northern California, so have the trophies to prove it. So I did that.
I'm vegetarian.
I didn't eat any of them.
You wouldn't take it.
Yeah, I didn't eat any of them, but no, it was a very solid childhood that I grew up in that really resonates with me. And I actually was just reminiscing with the childhood friend yesterday whose daughter is in construction management and is having problems with feeling included in the construction team. And so she reached out to me and we were talking about our childhood and why we are the women that we are because of where we grew up. We both rodeoed. I still barrel race, which is an event that women do on horseback. And I love to write, creative writing, and I also paint. So I do oil painting.
Yeah, I thought the rodeo stuff, that was the one that stuck with me because I love horses. I used to show jump and cross country and hunt back in the day. And there was like rodeo was, when you said rodeo, I was like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I have 3 horses that I compete off of. So you know how much time that takes to keep them in shape and everything. So it keeps me in shape and it gives me that time away from the computer and the curriculum writing that I'm doing. And
different world, a different world. Favorite car or vehicle and why?
Yeah, well, that would just have to be the Ford pickup truck. I mean, it pulls my horse trailer, and I've got a beautiful red one. It's a deep blood red, and it's gorgeous. So
brilliant. And favorite destination to travel to on holiday? That's the one that says, yeah, that's me.
Yeah, so I spent some time in Tuscany, Italy, and it was gorgeous. I mean, it was just, it's definitely a place to be able to just sit and enjoy and love. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of the center of the world, kind of nearly, isn't it? It kind of feels like as if, wow, that's the old, that's the new, and then there's Tuscany kind of, isn't there? It's kind of
mostly it
amazing.
It had no people, so I loved it.
Yeah. But there's loads of other questions I could ask you, like, but I think, you're so interesting, you're so dynamic. It's such a mission that you're on. I really wish you every success where you're going with this, Cory. And I know that you're still trying to figure it out, kind of, but you do have the curriculum and you do have the program, so no one can take that away from you. And I know you spent years on that curriculum to get that right, and it came from heartfelt, emotional, but also academic structure, which is a difference between probably what's being pushed on the online version. And that's a credit to you, and well done on that. If people want to contact you or get in touch with you, how do they do it? So
you can reach me at contact@constructionmanagementonline.com. And you can also reach our website contact page at Construction Management Online. And right now, the program that we're providing is Construction Management Essentials. It's a 12-week program where we meet once a week in person and are able to go through the lecture material and everything that is available. And then we have the Skill Builder membership, which is mini courses that are kind of like step-by-step how to do in order to be able to help someone who's on the job site who might not want to ask their superintendent or somebody how to write an RFI or how to put a submittal together. And so it's just a library of construction management support.
Brilliant. And we have a website, my own website, gavin-coyle.com. Not that I'm doing a plug on that, but we'd happily put you in as a link on our website to help people as well, as a connection, if you're happy to do that, 100%, because there's nobody doing what you're doing. So well done. And Cory, thanks very much for being on the podcast. We'll put all the links in the show notes after the show so people can contact you. And we wish you every success for the future.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the kind words. And I really appreciate you and your audience.
Thank you.